Get into this OMB JD, the weird story of New York's most hated drill rapper. Really?
This man was very much on the top of the drill scene and very much had the potential to skyrocket in the hip-hop industry. A young kid with a chip on his shoulder with
And a
crazy
chip in his
wordplay
teeth.
and an innate energy and persona that can only be found in Brownsville, Brooklyn. But his ability to not be able to maintain relationships in the industry and being in and out of jail for most of his young adulthood have somewhat halted his growth. Today, OMB JD is serving a sentence due to a RICO charge.
Not to the field, then we spin on the field, then we punk up on foreign side. And I got about 9 in my clip, but I was not in the strip by your 5-year turn the car. Y'all thinking that 22 late, 22 is the snitch, he did not beat that murder charge.
When you look at the environment JD grew up around, it's easy to see where he gets that energetic, aggressive, in-your-face personality. He was born March 28th, 2000 as Jaquan Wise in Brownsville, Brooklyn, an area of Brooklyn that's been neglected by local officials and infused with gang culture since the 50s. JD would be raised by none other than G5 Reels, a respected family member of the Brim set in Brooklyn, otherwise known as the Hounds, Jets, and known for their viral whoopty call. This is the kind of energy and environment JD would be raised around his whole life. By the age of 11, he would be fully ingrained into pen tapping and full-fledged roast battles in middle school in his local neighborhood. He would listen to artists like Lil Durk, G Herbo, and other Chicago stars. And that you can see where he clearly gets his influence in his music to be so outright disrespectful. He would launch into the music scene similar to 50 Cent, absolutely dissing the fuck out of everyone.
Oh, you staying gang, give me everything, if you movie getting murdered. Go and get the Richie, I'ma throw 50, leave a blicky on the shirt. Smoke dead guys for the dead guys, watch a nigga go berserk.
Op Mix would drop July 9, 2017. Being surrounded by mostly Brims at the time, JD would make it very known he's EBK, everybody's killer. Fundamentally, JD was light years ahead of a lot of these other kids in New York. His wordplay, breath work, and vocal tone really set him apart from the rest. Not many people in the scene, even to this day, can rap or hold up with JD. And although him and D-Sav have been putting in so much work in the New York drill scene, he wouldn't really get that mainstream attention until linking with Fabio for Blicky in a Box.
Fabio, they don't know if they started, we yoga retarded, we still in that gang shit.
Blicky in a Box being hands down one of the most disrespectful, in-your-face, diss-filled tracks to release out of New York. A fully aimed diss against 2Gs and the GDs of Brooklyn. Not only was it a song you couldn't play safe in a majority in New York, but it'd be the first time we see Favi and JD link up.
And you know that's one thing we don't play, cause we your GDK if you fully your brain split. Like I was the Crips, don't choke the bloods, we don't fuck the folks who's more to die.
This itself wasn't Fabio's first song, but it definitely was his first hit, or track in general that went completely viral. At that time, JD and D-Sav were two of the biggest upcoming drill artists in the New York drill scene. In a sense, they were helping Fabio out doing a track with him. To me, and a lot of other drill listeners at the time, Fabio was fairly unknown. And JD's late connection with Fabio is where you would really start to see a bunch of the growth in his career. At the time, you saw the young star.
I ain't gonna front. A lot of people who don't know what they talking about would say that. You feel me? Of course, at the time when they hooked up, JD was bubbling more than Fabio, but Fabio and them had, like, at one point when New York drill, like, first started bubbling and shit, them niggas had a wave too. The 800 foreign side niggas had a wave too, you feel me? When they had that, like, some stars and all that shit, they had songs that was buzzing too. Niggas knew who Fabio was to it. Just the little kids that, you feel me, ain't really tapped in, didn't know who he was, and they gonna run with that shit. And because these people watch those type of videos or read those type of comments, they think that's actual fact. Fabio was actually known before JD was known. For the people that don't know, Fabio, like when they had that like some stars, I don't even know if I can't even, I would have to play it after this video, because if I play it from the phone, you're not gonna hear it. Like some stars and shit, that shit had a little buzz in the city and shit. Remember at one point, niggas wasn't doing 1 million views. Niggas act like doing 1 million views always been a thing, the average for a nigga. Niggas wasn't always doing 1 million views and shit like that. Feel me? But nigga had a buzz before this nigga JD for sure.
Sporting a red flag in all of his earliest music videos, surrounded by bloods from his area of Brownsville. But his connection to Fabio aided in him getting to know P. Gutta, an OG for many of the Woos, and happens to be under the same set as.
Nah, you see what I be saying? Niggas should be saying anything. Niggas don't know what they fuck they saying. Nigga said a OG for the woos. This nigga is crazy, bro. Yo, niggas be saying anything in these videos, bro.
Fabio. P. Gutter would eventually be the man responsible for JD switching gangs.
Nah.
Yeah, I turn crip, I don't give a fuck what a nigga say. No folks coming my way, and the nigga still choking.
And you're switching away from your father's gang? How does that make sense? These dudes are on the street trading block superstars like NBA players. That's the exact reason drill rappers and fans were confused as fuck by, and really would be the first instance of JD's career.
Now, the person who made this video gotta be obviously very young and shit. You feel me? No funny shit. They just young and they going off a comment section shit. They obviously don't really know too much about what's going on. JD was never blood. JD just used to be jacking and shit. It's like one of those niggas that, you feel me? They around these type of people. His pop's blood. He was just jacking and shit. You feel me? He was never blood, bro.
Being halted and negatively affected by outside perception of his brand. Fans began to question his integrity, deeming this man the hood avatar, a nickname, for better or for worse, that would stuck with him throughout his career. And even though JD traded his flag, it didn't completely stop his career. The new dynamic duo in the drill scene was beginning to really...
It be these niggas in the comment section swear they know every fucking thing, for real. It be these type of niggas, bro.
Find its momentum. Not only were the two continuously getting hundreds of thousands
how he talking like he know what he talking about.
A few shows together and even began to receive offers from various music labels throughout the music industry. Most infamously linking up with Mace, who gave both Fabio and JD $5K each in 2018 and helped initiate Fabio's deal later down the road. JD met Mace June 9th, 2018, but would get locked up later that month, June 29th, until October 11th. Through that entire time period, until JD was home in May of 2019, he had not heard a single word from Mace. And this is where JD starts to question Mace and the entire relationship as a whole. But after getting released, Mace would reach out to JD that May of 2019, where Mace would help bring JD and Fabio to Columbia Records and help initiate a record deal. The deal was offered to JD as well, but he decided to decline because the offer wasn't putting him as the primary focus as an artist. The deal that was offered was a $1.8 million deal in which Mace allowed to recoup $800K from Fabio and JD. Fabio accepted, JD did not. This is important to note because shortly after the label meeting, JD would be locked up yet again, this time.
You know, that would be happening sometimes. Niggas don't be humble. Niggas be feeling like, yeah, I could just turn down deals. I'm lit. At the end of the day, bro, you turn down certain deals. Sometimes you pass up on opportunities that could have helped you in the long run. You got to actually know about your deal. You got to go get a lawyer, read the contract, actually know what's going on. Niggas be feeling like they lit. Oh, yeah, I'm out of turn. I'm not signing to this nigga. In all actuality, that nigga could have propelled you to a whole nother level. These niggas be wanting to be signed to niggas that's lit. They don't feel like Mace lit right now at the moment. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. Niggas be wanting to sign to niggas that's lit. I bet you if Meek Mill would have gave him the same offer at that time, he'd have signed to Meek Mill. If Ross would have gave him that same offer, as Wayne or one of them niggas would have gave him that same, he would have signed. But it's just, oh, yo, this nigga not, I'm lit already. I don't need this shit.
For 8 months with a bond that he could not pay. So had taken that record deal, he'd be a walking free man. Under this specific...
That's a bad deal. How is that a bad deal, bro? A nigga is getting you to the table and he's taking, this nigga says 800,000. The nigga that's making the video, Fabio himself said 700,000. So I don't even know which number is actual. But if these niggas was both getting 1.some million and he's taking 700,000 from each, how is that a bad deal? How's that a bad deal, bro? I don't get it. Like, what do y'all be talking about? How is it bad? What was bad about the deal? He got them to get signed to major. Like, everybody, I don't care if niggas think they just because you lit, you gonna get that same deal, bro. You're not gonna get that same deal just because you lit, bro. It's not gonna happen, my nigga.
Specific indictment were allegations of rape and sexual assault of a minor, in which we'll dive fully into later in the video. While JD is away, Fabio is starting the beginning of his record deal, with one of the first few songs released through the label being Big Drip. The viral smash hit across all platforms achieved over 84 million streams to this day and was the start of the New York drill artist's big break into the mainstream spotlight. So while JD is away, one of his closest peers in the industry, part of his dynamic duo, is getting the biggest amount of attention either of them has ever received. JD's bail was held for $2 million. In the state of New York, you're allowed to put down a percentage of your bail to get out. This is called a bond. Minimum of 10% is allowed, making the bail needed around $200 to $250K. So JD's been in there for 8 months at this point. In the past 2 years, he spent more time inside of jail than he has outside of jail making music. So his good buddy Fabio was obviously on fire at the time, has the big smash hit Big Drip, coming off the record deal, he's got a couple mil in the pocket. So it'd eventually be Fabio that came up with the funds to get him bailed out of jail. But as you guys can guess, this modern New York dynamic duo's relationship does not last forever, and good
You see, and it's like if this nigga who made the video actually did his homework. I actually had Fabio on my live, I had JD on my live, I had JD's father on my live, and niggas spoke about this situation too. Like Fabio didn't pay the entire bail. It was said that other niggas put up, and Fabio put up a certain amount of bail and shit like that. Like the details in this video is kind of all over the place and shit.
things must come to an end. And although Fabio would bail JD out of jail and put him in a position to be around big rappers such as King Von, JD would take to IG Live in attempts to air out Fabio.
Because niggas don't want to fight. In real life, nobody wants to fight me. Word to my dad.
It's JD, of course, but it's so many niggas that do this. It's so many niggas that do this. Like, if this is coming a recurring thing, like this shit is happening too much now. Like, if it's a cool thing to just go around, nigga, be cool, smack a nigga face, and then go on an incident and go ranting and
Ultimately ending in diss tracks airing out their grievances.
I hope a lot of niggas get sanctioned. Man, a lot of niggas turn crib. You say you ain't my son, then you lying on my dick. I'm the reason you late. Don't forget time, make sure you taking them trips. And yeah, suck my dick. She got it, the reason I'm crib.
JD felt like he put Fabio on, and that Fabio should be doing more to help his career after taking off in the mainstream. This beef in itself was one that altered JD's career. It made him look more spiteful than anything. Fans generally took the side of Fabio Foreign on the beef. You know, this man Fabio just bailed you out of jail, and the first thing he does was get you in a studio with King Von to try to... If that's not an example of a friend throwing an alley-oop, I don't really know what is. From the outside perspective, kind of just looks like JD's a hater. But this is a...
Nah, real nigga shit, if you really look at it like that, you know what actually causes these type of things? It be people in your ear. Like, it be people, oh, yo, you better than that nigga, bro. You litter than that nigga. If you wasn't you, that nigga wouldn't be lit, bro. You shouldn't be second to that nigga. But sometimes you gotta hold a back seat, bro. That's how you go up. Niggas be hating on niggas and want to be the main player all the time. And you feel me? Like, all right, think about it. Let's say JD would have been the one in the front, right? Now look at it. How many hits has JD made? JD got songs that were popular, but how many hit songs out of New York drill belongs to JD? Especially not a diss track. Take away the diss tracks. How many hit records he got? Exactly. So if he was the one in the front, that's what he would have been doing, not making hits. So Fabio, they seen whoever knows, they know the music industry and they know what's gonna sell and they know what's gonna go further and which image is more marketable. They went with that image. If he would have just said, yo, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna take the backseat and I'm gonna grind and nigga, I'm gonna make my talent show, like, you know, let my talent speak for me. Sooner or later, if he was working hard enough and made hits and came out with some shit, then, you know, he would have been the one people was looking at. But he ain't want to do it that way. He wanted to go with what people say. And that's the toxic shit about the hood. People always be in your ear. You don't need that nigga. That nigga ain't even that lit. How you gonna help you, bro? And those are the niggas that can't help you, that's telling you not to do this and not to do that. Yo, don't sign with that nigga. That nigga can't help you, bro. And then you don't, and then you end up in JD's position. JD could have been right now, even if he did get locked up. He probably wouldn't have got locked up again. But even if he did get locked up in an indictment, right now he would have had some bread, to come home to. Now he come home, he got to start from zero again. And guess what? Now he don't have his friend. And those people who were in his ear telling him the bogus shit, they don't have no ends for him. Probably right now in jail, they never went and see him. They never wrote him. They never sent him a package. Feel me? So you niggas got to think ahead of the game, bro.
Common theme you're going to see throughout his career. Creating and continuing relationships is not a strong suit. Time and time again, he'd see himself flung into drama-filled beefs with drill rappers from almost every borough. The other artist I've seen have as many name drops is 22G, and his ability to not stay silent has hurt him just as much as making outwardly viral diss tracks. One thing that's kind of always haunted.
I ain't gonna front. Him responding and dissing niggas did not stunt his growth in no way, bro. He could have continued dissing niggas. That actually kept him relevant. That shit ain't stunt his growth in no way, not even a little bit.
OMB JD's career and really put it to a halt back in 2018, where allegations of sexual assault and rape over his head, in which he would spend some time in jail for, but the case overall would eventually get dismissed. For almost about 3 years and some change, JD had a false sexual assault allegation lurking over his head. Fans in the New York drill scene and other rappers in the New York drill scene bashed the fuck out of him all throughout the process. Now, to their defense,
I mean, that's part of this shit. Whenever someone, even if it's fake, whenever they find some shit that they can say on you, they gonna always do that shit. Even if it's fake, bro. Like real nigga shit. It got some people that will find out what they saying about you is fake and still run with it. I don't give a fuck if it's fake. Fuck that nigga. I still think he did that. Like niggas be really weird like that. For some reason, I don't know. Whenever someone is successful or someone is known, it's just like it triggers something in the back of certain people's mind to just dislike or hate them.
rightfully so, because at the time the charges looked ridiculous, and if he was found guilty, definitely would have been a piece of shit. I have empathy for JD in this case because all of these allegations were false, because the dates the victim gave that the event occurred, JD actually happened to be in jail at the time. It'd be quite literally impossible for him to be found guilty in that case. And these allegations in general were being clowned over his name and halted a lot of people from working with him, from music labels to artists. Around 2017, 2018, JD would find himself in a position to be able to work with one of the most polarizing figures in the modern age of hip-hop. That man going by the name of Tekashi 6ix9ine. Aside from Pop Smoke, you could argue he was the most viral and biggest artist to come out of New York in the past 10.
Why he said aside? Why you even put Pop Smoke in that shit? Like, you didn't need to say aside from Pop Smoke. He was more viral than Pop Smoke. Tekashi 6ix9ine was the most viral thing out of New York at one point before last snitch and shit. You ain't have to say aside from Pop Smoke. Because aside from, nigga, there was other niggas that was lit too, as lit as Pop Smoke when Pop Smoke first came out. But Tekashi was litter than Pop Smoke. No cap. That nigga was doing 1 million views in the same day.
20 years. At the time, 6ix9ine would be running with Treyway, finding himself connecting with other street rappers in the industry. JD and his clique being one of the crowds cool with Shotty at that time. 6ix9ine not actually being fully ingrained into the raw street life of New York drill rappers. He was looking to get a more personable approach to the New York drill scene at the time. So who better to ghostwrite for you than the most disrespectful rapper in the scene as a whole? Which, looking back on it, it makes so much sense. 6ix9ine had a fast-paced, in-your-face drill approach exactly like JD. And there's a lot of bars throughout his discography where I'm like, oh, if JD said that, that'd be a fucking hit. These are allegations time and time again. OMB JD would deny. He's never admitted that he's had a business relationship with 6ix9ine in his crew. But there is indeed way too much evidence that proves that JD had some kind of business rapport with him.
Young nigga way too litty. Niggas wanna talk that talk, better walk that walk. When you see me, tell him get up with me. Like, he got hit and he got hit. Nobody never did shit, I ain't worried about you.
Bitch, oh yeah, I'll be bitch. Casamigos, dollars, walking, bitch, we bout to fuck some shit. La fucking shit, we they fucking shit. Niggas know me, I'm a pop, my shit was sweet, swapping sticks. What? What you wanna do like what? Who you gonna shoot like what?
We ain't no free to none. Shout out JD, shout out Kuda D, sad, oh my God.
What people took issue with was lying and misleading your fans. At the very least, you owe them some sort of transparency. And within the subculture of drill, the fans are looking for the most raw and authentic rappers they can find. If this was any other melodic rapper writing for 6ix9ine, it mostly wouldn't be an issue. But within the politics of drill, working with somebody who had openly snitched is not really favored amongst the rappers or the fan. I'm very open to say that OMB JD is one of the most talented rappers to come out of the New York drill scene.
This nigga rushed the shit out the edit. He rushed the shit out the edit of this video. He was putting clips in there, 50 Cent, me and JD on live, all that shit. That shit didn't even, like, what was the point of putting that? I don't know. Y'all gotta take y'all time with these videos, man. And you gotta get the right information and shit. The nigga said bro was the OG Woo. I'm crying. Yeah, that shit too funny, bro.